Yeah. This is it. One, two, three. Boom, I think we're on. Bit of a setup tonight. I'm on the Carl's quail again tonight. So my setup is one light, two lights, the XH-1, and I've got a mic just up there, and that's going into a Zoom H5. So I'll just get better audio today. So it's been a busy couple of weeks since my last video. Well, I did a video, there was a grading and shit like that, but since my last video, which was going out for a bike ride, I've been shooting, I've been lifting, I've been busy. So I just thought I'd kind of run through what I've been doing, basically, and see if I've learned anything from it. Initially I did, there's a guy who comes over to me, Sasha, and I've been in touch with him over the years. I think I only ever met him once, because I'm always missing him. And he is a jiu-jitsu guy, German, but I think he's one of the biggest guys in animal flow in Europe. And he was over, get on great with him. And he's married to a lady called, I say a lady, a woman called Nina, and she does yoga. So they asked, did I know any photographers? So I said, me. We decided to do a photo shoot, and it turned into a bit of a video shoot as well. And it was up at Point de Piedad, it's up at the lighthouse. She wanted it like an early morning, crack of dawn photo shoot, which was great. So I brought the lights and I got Sasha to hold the lights, and I think the shots came out great. And yeah, I was happy with it. It was the first time I've done flash photography outside with, you know, when the sun's coming up. If you got someone to take a photograph, the sun's coming up, if you don't flash them, they're just going to look black and the sun is just too bright, so you just kind of add that little bit in. And then she did a little bit of floating that she does. It was great, so I enjoyed it, enjoyed the process of it, enjoyed the way it turned out. She was happy with it. It was for a magazine, so yeah, it was good. And then Carl came over, good friend of mine, Carl. Well, one of my best friends. I know Carl 25 years, over 20 years. I met him, I used to go to the Kitchen nightclub in 95, and there was a crew that used to go in there. They were like this bike courier crew, and we all used to get together and hang out, dance our fucking heads off. And Carl was in that kind of crew, but I never really kind of, was always a little bit aloof, so I never really hung out with him. And at the time he had dreads, and then I met him later on in life, and he came into the jiu-jitsu place, which again, Brian Dojo's place, and we started getting on, we started working together, started hanging out together. He came to Thailand with me, and he's moving down. He's after, he came over to have a look at a place to live, and him and Bella are moving down, and a dog, and they got a place just down the road here, down with the pitch and putt course. So I'm going to get him to manage the gym, because I want to build the dojo up into something special. It's always been something special, but it doesn't have the numbers or the footfall that I want, and it doesn't have the presence that I want. It served the purpose that I wanted it to serve, as in I want teams coming over, I want the corner coming over, I wanted all the big guys coming over. But now I want to build it up into something more of a grassroots kind of thing. And I just can't do it on my own. And Carl's got the motivation to do that. Plus I know him a long time, and he's a lifer martial artist like myself, so he's into it. And plus, when I came here 12 years ago, it's a different place to what it was 12 years ago. Town now, I mean, it's busy. I mean, the car park upstairs is full. The town is busy. It never used to be busy. I mean, I had my first training camp here in April 12 years ago. There was nobody anywhere. Everything was closed. There was no cars on the road, no cars parked upstairs. And words got out, and it's got fast internet. I think that's one of the biggest ones. So a lot of these digital nomads, because they're all communicating with each other, have, you know, they find these places. They go from spot to spot. Chiang Mai became a big one, and I think Lagos has become a big one now. You'll see them in the little hipster cafes and stuff, and warp speed internet has made a big difference in this town. So they got fibre optics in. Carl's coming in May, and I had the honour of giving him his purple belt, because he's a black belt in ninjutsu. But once you become a black belt in something, you just it's not just about martial arts. It's about how you are as a person, really, and how you make decisions. You know, you've got to be black belt on the mat and off the mat. And, so he's been a blue belt forever. So I give him his purple belt. That Alex is great. And then he came to me, and then I thought, fuck it. And then I didn't have a purple belt, so I had to rob it off Sosa, and I give it back to him afterwards. But it was a good outline. It's an honour for me to give a purple belt to my good friend, Cam McCormick. Step forward. In the meantime, I've always wanted a place in the middle of nowhere, up on a hill with a river. You know, because I've always had this thing about it has to be up on a hill, because it's very hard to fight going uphill rather than downhill, if you know what I mean. And I came across this place on one of the websites, and it was up by over the top of Foy, over the top of the Mont Chic. So there's a place called Marmolette, and you go up to Marmolette, and when you get up to the top of Marmolette, you take a right and you drop down all these hairpin bends, and then you come back up again. And it's about an hour from the gym. It's a hard drive, though. It's all hairpin bends, and it runs out road a little bit. And then there's a dirt track for 700 meters, and here's this house embedded into the hill, and I'm a little bit smitten for it. It's a ruin, but it could be my ruin, and it's got 2 acres of terraced land, which means that someone has, because it's on a steep slope, has dug into the land, and they also have taken all the rocks out, because it's real rocky, like, yeah, it's just fucking, you couldn't dig an inch without hitting rock. So someone's taken all that out and terraced it for, obviously, crops that they've grown to sustain themselves. As you can see from the house, it's kind of like, you know, they would have lived and ate off the land and all that shit. So I went up with Carl, and there's a river. That was really the cell, the river that runs all year round. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Like, I've ideas. It's got orange trees, it's got strawberry plants, it's got avocado, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Like, I was thinking, like, dropping a wooden house in it. Mont Chic burns down a lot, so I thought maybe not a good idea. And then I was thinking, what about like a shipping container, because you can get them done up now inside, and it's all cut out with windows and it's done the way you wanted to do it. So anyway, I got to put in an offer and see how it goes, but it's it ticks all the boxes. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Let's see how it goes, but I'm excited about it. The other thing I've done is I've gone barefoot. So I started off with, Caroline was on about barefoot shoes forever. And I was like, well, these shoes are kind of like super flexible, and they're not. And then I got a pair on Amazon for $25, these ones here, which are like super flexy. And I got it when I wore these, and then I thought, one of my goals is to be able to run again, and I ran last week actually, and I got myself a pair of barefoot running shoes, which are these ones here. They're a 0 drop, there's 5 mil of rubber on it, so it's good rubber on it. And I ran 3k So I've been walking this loop up to Point B that stuff. So I've been walking it, and I ran it. So I walked a kilometre, ran 3, walked 1. Took about 5 days for my calves to stop hurting. Because you're on your toes, right? You can't run on your heel. So then I thought, I was wearing these all the time. Then I thought, like, they're a bit flashy, right? So I just thought, I need a pair of because I'm throwing out all my shoes. And then on the website, they have these ones. They're just like a leather moccasin kind of thing, barefoot again, and that's it. It's just those 2 pairs of shoes, and that's it. I'm fucking out everything else. Bar the boots, gonna keep the boots. Gotta have a pair of shit kickers in case you need to kick some shit. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm doing. My lifting progress has progressed to the biggest problem I have with the snatch is the bent arms when you're pulling up, and I've been trying to break it down. No, I've been breaking it down into bits, but then when you put weight on, you start to think about the weight, and then if I'm recording it, I'm starting thinking about the recording, and then my arms start bending. But I got a few where it clicked, and then the next day I thought I'd have it, and then I missed it again. So once you start to see things, like the certain things that you see and certain things that you don't see, say like in jiu-jitsu or in movement or in any practice that you're doing, someone can tell you for a move or tell you some stuff, and you're trying to do it, and it's awkward, and then one day you just experience what that is, and it just that little light bulb goes off, and you chase that, and you've tasted it, so now you're looking for it, now you see it, and you see it, and you see it, and you see it, and you get bits of it, and all of a sudden the bits become one big piece. And there's been a progression, when I put in a few lifts here, there's been a progression. I'm able to do the clean and jerk with more of a downward squat. The problem I have with the snatch is with the hip pain that I had, I could squat only when my feet are together. So when I jump up for the snatch, my feet go out and I find it hard to squat, but it's getting there. And I'm adding in a few more little kind of mobility drills, and the extra weight is gonna like push it in. So I'm happy that I got a little bit more of a thing for it. I'm gonna take off this jacket. It gets a little bit. I can only do these at night because I got a lighter, right? So I just put on the leather jacket there for a minute. There's been a guy training us. He was in the video, Seymour and James. So Seymour is heading back to Germany. And he's been a buzz. He's great. The two of them have been great to have, and they're great energy. So always ask me questions, and they wanted to do a podcast with me. And I asked him how many podcasts he did. He said he never did one before. Normally I wouldn't do one, but I said fuck it. They were good lads, so I did it. And then he wrote to me the other night saying he was editing, and he was like really unhappy about how his questions were, and he wished he'd asked me different questions. And so I just said, look, you know, do 50 of them, then come back. You can't expect to be brilliant at something that you just do once. You got to like practice everything. Everything has a practice to it. Everything has a number to it. So do 50. Go out and interview people and practice and get better at it. But I thought he did great. You know, I just waffled. I don't know what to talk about, but yeah, when I get it out, I'll link it up and see how it goes. But anyway, he asked me. This was last night training. And he said, I said, let's go for sushi or whatever. And then he said, I need to show you something. And it needs to be dark. And I was like, okay. So I didn't know what he was up to, because they're a little bit left of field, right? So next of all, we went into the champ shop and it was pitch dark. It was him, James, and I told Kane to hang on. It's just in case. So, he did this fucking, it was like a ceremony with music, and he had these clothes, and he did all this like light shit. It was trippy as fuck, it was brilliant. it's nice to listen to appreciation from people, because a lot of time you don't, you know. Someone says, listen, thanks very much for that. You go, yeah, thanks. But he said thanks without saying thanks with his fancy hands, if you know what I mean. It's like the experience I had with it. This guy one time, and we asked him what it was like to experience, what was it like, explain it. And he just made a big like, oh, noise. Fucking hell. Sadhguru was on the Joe Rogan podcast. And I heard him maybe 3-4 years ago, something unreal. And I've listened to him 3 times already. And he was on to talk about soil, and then Joe started talking about mystic stuff. And Joe's a bit of a jock, so it was kind of like, it was like a jock asking the mystic questions about being mystic. And he had a couple of good things I got from it. One is that he said that everybody that is by his side for 20, 30 years, or by his side, solid, good friends, every day with them, he doesn't think about what they've done in the past. Every day is a new day, because he knows what they're like, where he doesn't judge them on things that they've done. He understands that they're good and good for him, even though we're human and we're flawed and we make mistakes, and he might not always say the right thing or do the right thing, but he doesn't judge them on that. He just is happy to see them every day. And the other thing he said was about experience and experiencing things instead of explaining things. He was saying that, like, if you have a person and you chop them up into bits, is that who the person is? And it's not. You can't explain who the person is. You have to experience who the person is. And a lot of life is like that. You can't really explain what's going on. You just have to experience it. And he spoke about this mountain called Mount Kalish. Mount Kalish. It's in Tibet. And I looked it up. And he said that yogis, it's one of the most kind of precious mountains there is. Because yogis have all this experience, or holy men or mystics have all this experience, but they can't tell other people because they won't understand it. So they go to this mountain, and they leave their experience there. And if you go there and you have the ability to understand what is going on, you will take their experience from the mountain. And I just thought it was fucking cool. And I looked into, like, how do I get there? And I think it might be one of my places that I'd like to go. And is it like one of these mountain roads with the buses that are right on the edge of this kind of sheer cliff all the way up this mountain to get to it. No one's ever climbed it. I think you're not allowed climbing anyway. But they make a big thing out of it. No one's ever climbed it. But they ban people from climbing it, so it's one of those ones. So that's been me for the last week or two. This week, what I'm going to do is and I found I'm not doing as much as I can do, and the reason why that is I'm not planning it. No, I'm planning it, but I'm not writing it down. So from today on, I'm going to write down what I want to do for the next set of 3 days. That's going to be training, my lifting schedule. I always have this thing where I kind of go down and I do, I have a program, so I tend to do, but I tend to get distracted. I also need to get a music player, and fuck the phone. I need to get a music player that has digital and a Wi-Fi, just only plays music, connect to the thing, and I don't want messages going off when I'm fucking training. Easily distracted. So I'm gonna have to knock that in the fucking head. So that's one of my things. So I'm gonna have a list of what I've got to do and get that done, because I'll find I'll do a couple of things and then I'm blowing kisses at myself, and then I'm not doing as much as I want. And then in the afternoon or in the evening for the training session, the later training in the dojo, I tend to say I'll go and do the second part of lifting or a second part of cardio or whatever, and then everyone's pulling out me. Someone's asking me for this, do you have that, do you have baby wipes, do you have fucking key, do you have fucking... And I just never get anything done. It's kind of like when I was on the building site, I used to think I was going to get more done in the afternoon, and you go, fuck, all done in the afternoon, that was it. So that's it. It's my old man's first year anniversary of when he died in a few days. So I've been wanting to make a video about him and what it was like when your father dies, and what that experience was like. I wanted to make one close to the time, but I never really kind of got around to it. And I don't want to leave it too long because I'll forget. But I think to mark his anniversary, I think I'll talk about what it was like to go through that, and what I learned from it, and how it's affected me, or how it's changed me, or how it's changed my perspective, or not, or whatever. But I think it's a good time to make that video. So that'll probably be my next video, and that's it. So till the next one. Hare Krishna, we are all one.